Hey guys, Telegram Sam here. If you don't already know, I have an Instagram. It's telegram_Sam_vinyl. So if you're on Instagram, check me out there. But today's video is just a recent vinyl pickups video where I show you guys the the records I've gotten these last 2 weeks. The first stack of records I'm going to start off with is a lovely package that Christian sent me. He sent me a package a while back. He actually just started his own YouTube channel. I'll link it down below if you guys are interested. But yeah, let's start off with the stuff he sent me. First off, he sent me Evolution by Journey. This is an original 1979 US press, rock, pop, you know, the usual Journey stuff. And this was their 5th album. I'm not the biggest Journey fan, but I've never listened to like their full albums. I've only heard like songs of theirs. My mom had the Journey's Greatest Hits CD, and I remember that was a frequent listen in the car a lot when I was growing up. So I kind of do have a little bit of a soft spot for Journey. I definitely haven't listened to them in the last like 5 or 8 years. I was actually listening to this when I was getting ready to shoot this video, and I liked it a lot more than I thought I would. I was like kind of surprised. Probably the most well-known song on here is Love and Touch and Squeezin'. But yeah, I don't hate it. Thomas Baker, who produced and worked with did some albums for Queen, produced this, so you can really kind of hear that slight little Queen influence a little bit, especially in like the guitar stuff. But yeah, I really dig this. And this one just came on the, just classic 70s Columbia label. And then next up we got Ahmad Jamal at the Pershing. I think it's a lounge in a Chicago hotel by Ahmad Jamal Trio. This is original 1958 US press. I haven't gotten a chance to listen to this one yet, but this is jazz, post-bop, modal. This was his 5th album, and Ahmad is a great piano player and composer, band leader. He does like a little bit of everything. He also teaches at various like universities and colleges, and he still plays at 91 years old. So yeah, I'm really excited to dive into this. I've never really heard of him before, so I'm excited to kind of learn more about a jazz musician I'm not really that familiar with. And it just came on this Argo Audio Aussie and ultra high fidelity label. And then next up we got sort of classic in the jazz world. This is a Time Out by the Dave Brubeck Quartet. This originally came out in 1959. This is a 1962 US press. This is described as pop, cool jazz. This was Dave Brubeck's 29th album. Yeah, I really love this. I liked this a lot more than I thought I would. I mean, I always hear people talk about it as sort of one of those essential jazz records that everyone should have. But yeah, I really dig this record, especially the song Everybody's Jumpin'. I really like that song. But this was actually the first jazz album to ever sell 1 million copies, so that's also kind of like a cool little fun fact. And this one just came on Red Columbia 2i label. And then next up, sort of a band that, again, I always hear about but I've never really gotten into. This is Relayer by Yes. This is the original 1974 US press, and this is described as rock, prog, art rock. This was their 7th album, and there's only 3 songs on this album. One song takes up the entire first side. That is The Gates of Delirium, that clocks in at 21 minutes and 55 seconds, and then the second side has Sound Chaser, which is 9 minutes, and To Be Over, which is also 9 minutes. So yeah, I don't know, prog to me is very like hit or miss. Either I really love it or I just really don't like it. The only Yes things I'm like familiar with is like the songs they did in the 80s, which I'm not really that big of a fan of. So I'm excited to get into more of their earlier, better work. So yeah, I'm excited to listen to this. And this one just came on a really cool sort of custom Atlantic label. And this one's also a classic. I do have some Herb Alpert and Tijuana Brass in my collection. I think I only have one other album from him, but this is just such an iconic album cover. I mean, the woman covered in whipped cream. Actually, when I was looking up info about this album, she was actually 3 months pregnant when she shot this cover, which is kind of crazy. But yeah, this is Whipped Cream and Other Delights by Herb Alpert's Tijuana Brass. This is a 1965 US press in mono, his 4th album. And yeah, I don't know, it's just kind of one of those dollar bin records that I just think everyone should have in their collection, just because of how iconic this cover is. And like, everyone who has been in the, you know, record collecting or music collecting scene for 5 minutes knows about this album cover. So, and this one just came on just a brown A&M Records label. And then next up, we got the self-titled debut from the Romantics. This is original 1980 US press. This, I would say, is power pop, rock. It's considered to be the first pop album that came out in 1980 because it came out on January 4th. So that was kind of the thing Nemperor Records was trying to like push. But I do really like this album. I liked it more than I thought. Of course, I know the Romantics from the song What I Like About You, which is on this album. But yeah, it's just really fun, light, you know, sort of the Knack, Bay City Rollers style, pop rock. Yeah, it's just like an easy, fun listen. And this one just came on the Nemperor label. And then some more Rolling Stones in the collection. This is Flowers by the Rolling Stones. This is original 1967 US press. This is a their second ever comp album, and you know, blues, rock, pop, the usual Rolling Stones thing. But this features 3 unreleased songs: My Girl, Ride On Baby, and Sitting On a Fence. And I was reading somewhere that Bill Wyman said in an interview that Keith Richards and Mick Jagger, sort of as a joke or as a prank for Brian Jones, didn't put any leaves on the stem of this cover. I don't know, I just thought that was kind of interesting how they thought that was somehow funny. I don't know. I didn't even really notice it until I read that. But this is just on the London Stereophonic label. And then next up, an artist I haven't really heard of before. This is Back to Front by Gilbert O'Sullivan. This is original 1972 US press, and this is described as rock folk. And this was his 2nd album. I guess he had a hit from the song Clear on here. Yeah, I'm not really familiar with his work. I haven't really listened to this yet, but excited to dig into it. Kind of looks like Harry Chapin a little bit, so that's kind of the vibes I'm getting. And this one just came on Ma'am. I don't think I've ever seen this label before. I really dig it. Alright, so that's all the stuff Christian sent me. Again, thank you so much, Christian, for that lovely package. I'll link his channel down below if you want to go check it out. And then the stuff I got. And look what finally came. Raise the Roof by Robert Plant and Alison Krauss. This came out last year, and this is the Vinyl Me Please exclusive. I think it was limited to 1,500, and I have number 720. But yeah, great folk country, produced by T-Bone Burnett, who I didn't even realize produced this until I got this, and I've been kind of going through a T-Bone Burnett phase recently, so that makes me even more excited to listen to this. But yeah, I still don't have the first album they did together. It was Raise the Sands, I think. I know it has like something sands in it. But yeah, I mean, Robert Plant, one of the greatest rock singers ever, and Alison Krauss, just one of the greatest country folk singers ever, and just such a great dynamic duo. And yeah, you can't beat anything they sing on, so... And this one came on a translucent red vinyl. The next up, a band that everyone has been bullying me about getting into, but that is the Pixies. This is their album Surfer Rosa, their debut album. This originally came out in 1988, and this is a mystery, I would say recent US press. But yeah, this was produced by Steve Albini. I always see everyone talk about the Pixies, especially this album. I've heard a lot of people say this is their best album. And yeah, I'm just excited to listen to it. I haven't listened to it yet, unfortunately. But yeah, every time I do like a greatest of or favorites or video, everyone's like, really, no Pixies? And I'm like, I know, I'm sorry, I really need to listen to their stuff. So yeah, excited to dive into them. And yeah, this one just came on, I think it's just custom labels. Oh no, it has the 4AD labels, and then the back just has custom. And then next up we have Fair and Square by John Prine. This originally came out in 2005, and this is a 2021 US press, great folk country. John Prine has just quickly become one of my all-time favorite artists. I've really gotten into him the last year and a half, pretty much since he died. I actually had no idea who he was before he died, unfortunately. But sometimes you kind of just need that to kind of kick you in the butt and kind of make you realize how great John Prine is. But this was his 15th album, and he does such a beautiful cover of the Blaze Foley song Clay Pigeons. That's just like one of my all-time favorite cover songs ever. I mean, Blaze Foley's is obviously amazing, but John Prine just adds a little more something to it that the original is kind of missing, and I just really love his version of it. And Alison Krauss also does backing vocals on a few songs on this, so that's pretty cool. This was a gatefold, and this was in a series of sort of indie record store exclusives they did. They also did like an Irish color variant that was like red, white, and green, and this one's just on opaque green vinyl. Next up, one of my all-time favorite albums that came out in the 2010s. This is Awaken My Love by Childish Gambino. This originally came out in 2016, and this is a 2022 US press. Man, just killer funk, neo-soul, psych rock. I would say this is like the most modern equivalent to Funkadelic's Maggot Brain. Like, it even has like the second song on here, to me sounds like yeah, the second song on here, Have Some Love, sounds exactly kind of like Can You Get to That, which is the second song on Maggot Brain. And then you also have like an Eddie Hazel style Maggot Brain guitar solo on The Night Me and Your Mama Met. God, I just love this album. If I were to do like 5 best albums that came out in the 2010s, this would definitely be like on that list. This is just a fantastic album, especially since the first 2 albums Childish Gambino did before this were just typical, you know, rap, hip-hop, which I love. I cite his first album, Camp, as like the album that really got me into rap and hip-hop. But this kind of, he just took a left turn, and like this is cited as bringing sort of neo-soul into the mainstream. It was kind of like a bit of an underground thing that kind of started in the 2010s, and this kind of just propelled it to the forefront, and now it's kind of cited as the thing that kind of made it popular, and just a lot of modern hip-hop and R&B have a touch of a bit of neo-soul. And man, I just love this album. It's just so fantastic. I remember this came out the year I graduated high school, and I remember I was having a bit of an existential crisis of like, oh shit, I'm an adult now. I kind of have to figure out what I'm going to do with my life. And I just remember listening to this album on repeat, and just kind of figuring out what I'm going to do with my life. And it kind of just has a lot of like sentimental meaning to me. And Me and Your Mama is just one of the greatest opening tracks on an album ever, in my opinion. Just look up that song. It is just an epic song. And yeah, I could not say any more great things about this album. But yeah, so killer. If you're not familiar with Childish Gambino's work, definitely check out this album. Next up we have Urge Overkill's We. This came out earlier last month, but great all-rock band. I think Urge Overkill is one of the most overlooked bands ever, especially like 90s bands. They're kind of most well known for doing the cover of Neil Diamond's Girl You'll Be a Woman Soon for the Pulp Fiction soundtrack, which is how I found out about them. But even through that, that's how I discovered more of their later 80s stuff and other 90s albums. And this is actually their first record they've released in 11 years. Haven't gotten a chance to listen to it yet, unfortunately. But I saw that the opening track on here is a cover of Freedom by George Michael, so I don't know. I've heard some good things so far about this album, so I'm excited to listen to it. And this one just came on black vinyl with this custom label, and it has their classic UO on the back. And then last but not least, we got some jazz. We have the Musings of Miles by Miles Davis. This originally came out in 1955, and this is a 2014 European press. This was, jazz, hard bop, his 13th album, and his first to be released as a 12-inch LP. A lot of his previous work was either released as singles or 10-inch LPs, so yeah, that's a cool little fact. I don't know, I really don't have that much Miles Davis in my collection. I have a Miles Davis and John Coltrane sort of duo record, but nothing where it's just Miles Davis. But you have Miles Davis on trumpet, of course, Red Garland on piano, Philly Joe Jones on drums, and Oscar Pettiford on bass. Yeah, I feel like this is a Miles Davis album I don't really see a lot on the VC, so that's kind of why I got it. And this just came on sort of like a reproduction, old school prestige label. Yeah, but that was all I got these last 2 weeks. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.